Hey there and welcome back. So we're in the last part of this video where we actually have the parenting. So in the previous two videos was looking at the parts, how to break down the character into different pieces. The last video was to look at things by putting in the pivot points, as you see still highlighted here. And the last one is going to be based on the parenting. The parenting is very important because it gives you more control for your parts. So when we're animating, it can be tough if we have separate parts, and even though we can control the rotation and the positioning, it's kind of tough to move things separately. In some workflows, like for example, if you're working in Adobe Flash or so, or Adobe Animate rather, you may have to use something like that to work around moving the parts around. But having an area where you can actually do parenting for your characters is really helpful. So we're going to be focusing on the stage schematic view, which has to do with how things are put together. Now, mind you, layering is important, so you have to watch out for that too. I think largely my layering is done properly for the most part. I'd like to think. I may have to move the feet down a bit, like right above the legs, just about there. And I may have to move the body above, just below the neck. So that's fine. So here we go. So what I'm going to have to do is start working on the hierarchy. Now the way OpenToonz does it is that they have the stage schematic. And this is just a node view of what's going on in your layers. Other views might be your X sheet and so on. So I'm going to stick with the timeline view. And the first thing I'm going to do is work with what is common. I guess we can start with the arms. So the way the arms are set up is that I have an arm for the hand, for the right and the left. So I'm going to work with what the suffix is, which is R. So I have a hand here, and typically your hand is a child of your arm, right? So I'm just going to place it first before I actually do the hierarchy. And then the last one would be the bicep, R. So if I go on these separately, say do the rotation of this, and then the rotation of this arm, the rotation of this hand, this looks weird. But then to do the parenting is by pulling from the red end goes to the blue. So the red to blue means that whatever is coming from the red is the parent. This is going to be the parent, and then the receiving would be the child. So red to. So now you notice that the arm snaps in place, and then the hand that snaps in place, and that kind of gives you an idea of how things are parented. So I have a hand there. All right. So the way I can control this is by moving these around like so, and stuff of that nature. So I'm going to take out the keyframes here because I don't really want to mess around with the default position. So that's that. So I'm going to do the same thing for the other arm. So we go again, bicep, arm, and hand. Bicep to arm, arm to hand. And that should take care of our other arm. Right? So that done, it's good to keep things in order. So we're going to press this little icon here on the bottom of the schematic view here, reorder nodes, which allows things to be put in order. So I'm going to work with something else. Let's do the legs next. So I have the feet, foot, thigh, shin, waist. Well, let's start with the legs. So let's start with the thigh going to the shin, and then the shin to the foot. So we have thigh L, shin L, foot L. Let's put these together. And so the way that will work is if I touch the thigh here, I can move the foot like so, I can bring this in like so, and I can always, rotate my foot a little bit. I'm just going to undo those, or just delete these keys. puts things back into place. Reorder that. And we're going to do the same thing for the other leg. We have thigh, shin, and foot. Just do the same thing there. Reorder that, and we're kind of going along now. So the next thing we're going to work on is the face. So the face has a bunch of parts. The head. So at the head we have the hair, the bangs on the front, the eyes, the iris. So let's start from the extreme outer parts, like for example the eyes. We have the iris L, and we have iris R. IL and IR. So what we want is for iris to be a child of the eye. Meaning, so if we move the eye around, the iris will move along with it. So IR and iris R, we just put those together like so. IL, iris L, same thing like so. We're going good so far. And I'll just save as I go. So that's that there. So the next thing we want to do is probably attach everything else to the head now. So the head is there. And if we move the head, we do want the ears to follow, the nose and the mouth, as well as everything else. The flower is going to be a part of the hair bang. So if we were to, well, I apparently did not put the pivot point there properly. So let's just correct that from now. There we go. The flower is there. All right, so we save hair bang. So now we're gonna have the head, and the head is gonna be in charge of a lot of things. So with the head is gonna be in charge of the hair bang. It's gonna be in charge of the eyes. It's gonna be in charge of the nose and the mouth. Don't want to forget that. So if we do this now, well, we see something like this. So the head being in charge of all these things, and all these other things being in charge of that. So if I was to move the head, not the center point rather, but the position, we're seeing things move. So I haven't attached the ears and the hair at the back yet. So I have to fix that. So a few things. We have the feathers. The feathers are going to be children of the head. So the hair back and the feathers. We're going to make these children of the head too. So head, hair back, and probably the feathers can be children of the hair bang too. So if anything, we put that there, or we could put them on the head itself. So let's see what we got if we move the head. We haven't gotten the ears attached just yet. And so we get the ears next. So the ears are here, ear, going to be children of the head. So many kids. So typically when you're working with faces, they tend to have the most parts because different parts of the face can move different ways. All right, cool. So we're almost done. So the biceps, we have the head. Now the head is going to be a child of the neck because when you move your neck, your head moves. So we're kind of going along there. Push that along. And then the neck is going to be a child of the torso because when you move your torso, everything above that moves. Now we're almost done. So if I was to try out the torso and I realize that for my torso, a pivot point is in the wrong place, I'm going to correct that too. Torso, check. Let's just test the rotation there. Right. So with that done, one thing I'm going to do is put the skirt on top, because layer wise the skirt should be above the torso, like that. And my pivot point for that is also off, so that's there. This skirt is should be below. So center point, bring that down about there, and we're going well. So if I move the torso, everything moves there, which is cool, but the arms are not attached. So that's the next thing that we're gonna do. We're gonna attach the arms to the torso, because when the torso moves, we expect the hands to move. So we have bicep, bicep. Those are gonna be children of the torso. Just pull back to those, reattach, reorder, and so we're seeing it break apart like this. Then we have the waist. So the waist isn't attached and the legs aren't attached. There's a reason why I don't typically do that, is because if your character was to like lean forward, and for example you might have the legs attached to the torso. Let's say for example, why don't we just attach the legs to the torso? So let's actually rotate the torso first, like so. Mind you, I'm going to add something here. But if I also attach the legs there, what you're going to start seeing is the legs kind of rotate along with it. So it can cause a problem at times. Right, so we have this, and we have this. Sorry, this to this. What ends up happening is something like this. And we wouldn't want this. We want to be able to control the upper body separately, and we want to be able to control the lower body separately. So I typically leave these alone, like so. But notwithstanding, we need a way to move everything at once, because it would be kind of pointless for us to have to move the lower body separately and then move the upper body separately and try to get them to match each other. So there's a way you could do this, and I guess the best way to do it is in a visible sense, to create a drawing that will not show up itself in the final render. It's just something to help us, you know, visually to guide the character, to move the character along. So this is all right. The waist is okay as it is. It's just a big old, you know, it's a leaf skirt. Probably could be longer. I could make a variant for that. So let's save what we have so far, reorder this. I'm going to create another layer, which is going to be like a control. So let's create a new layer. I'm just going to call this CTRL. Maybe I'll just call it master control, or master control. In other software, they may use a peg. But the reason why I'm doing it this way is because if you create a peg or use a peg bar, which is what OpenToonz uses, you won't see it in the layers. So I have to create something that's visible to us. So I'll apply that, close this, and here is our master control. So let's reorder this first. And master control is actually going to be in charge of the torso, the legs separately, and also going to be in charge of the waist, like so. Alright, this is just our reference. So let me just draw a control, something for us to see. Perhaps I could just use an ellipse as a shadow. And underneath the shadow, I could probably just type the word control or something. Ellipse. And that layer could actually be below everything else too. let's just let that be a shadow of sorts. If you wanted, we could put like indicators of the purpose. So I'm just gonna, you know, draw some arrows or something of the sort using like the line tool. Right? Could do that. But let's just keep things simple. Just call it this and also type CTRL. Reduce the size. Let's change the color. Something nice and blue. Yeah, got that. So the way I'm going to make it is that I don't want it to show in the render view. So we do have two views that we are available to us. And one of my eyes seems to have gone a little strange. I've probably moved it to a lower level. Let's see, eye, iris, head, mouth, eye. Oh dear, my iris is gone missing. Pity. I have to draw another one. Okay. Should be here somewhere. Anyways, so there are two ways to view things. You have the render view or the preview, which shows you exactly what you would see as you're doing your stuff. Or you have what we call the general, OpenGL view, if you want to call it that. What we work with. So when you press for the eye has to do with what is rendered. The table has to do with what we see working with. Right? So now that we've done this, there's a way we can actually move it around without working too hard. But I'm gonna, find my eye and come back and then go through that in another video. So thanks for watching. I still have some cleaning up to do, but this is the gist of it. I'm doing the parenting. So the tool that you would use to kind of get to it is what we call the skeleton tool. And it wouldn't be in build skeleton, but rather animate. And that would allow us to kind of have free control over the parts of our character. Right? And we could move the character around as needed. So thanks for watching and do take care. Peace and God bless.